There's not enough room for...
I think it's official right now. Episode 7 of Welcome to Derry was truly a masterpiece. And that's not a word I throw around lightly. The emotional aftermath of this show has clearly left its mark on the masses and social media.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
We don't just pee in pots. We also protect fair maidens.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
And one of the biggest drivers of this emotional tsunami is the sacrifice of Rich. Even though I think this is a pivotal moment in the series, it is by no means the only provocative topic embedded in this show. You see, we're being served an exquisite and thought-provoking buffet of the tragic, heroic, and despicably disgusting. This brings me to the main topic of this video: Rich's sacrifice. Those who know my videos know that many times fiction is outdone by reality. And sometimes fiction awakens something in us, a part of us that might have been lost. And I believe Rich's sacrifice is one of those moments. That's because it shines a light on a quality that we should never let go. I'll explain why, what his sacrifice really means, and why it should matter to pop culture. Let's get started. Rich's sacrificial death is far, far more than just an image on the screen. It's a testament to a standard that has been lost in today's world. For example, there are those who say to themselves, after seeing his sacrifice, are those heroic qualities buried within me? And I believe that question is paramount in today's divided society. The deep, introspecting question that we should all look in the mirror and ask. But I feel what will stare back at most would be unrecognizably terrifying, because the real, unadulterated evidence is screaming an uncomfortable truth. It's unclouded by personal bias. The uncounterfeit version of this kind of selfless, sacrificial qualities are rare in today's environment. All you have to do is look at the people who are celebrated in today's world. Politicians that smile like Stanley Kirsch, hiding their dark psychology behind false platitudes, never accomplishing anything truly sacrificial for their constituents, without debilitating strings attached, but yet they're voted in office time and time again. Businessmen who hoard wealth so much that is beyond reasonable sanity. Just contemplating the idea of them sacrificing any meaningful amount of their wealth will be tantamount to treason to many who view monetary hoarding as a natural right. But yet they give their employees some of the most despicable working conditions there are. Things only get better from here. Because the real kicker is we celebrate them through celebrity worship. Another example is social media. There's nothing chivalrous about the toxic atmosphere of social media. It's full of division, hate, anger, gossiping, slandering, verbal violence, all wrapped in an addictive algorithmic bow. Keep this in mind and remember, Rich wasn't popular. He was an outcast. He was considered by most a loser, peer-pressured into eating his food by his locker. Rich was still Rich. His attitude, his chivalry, his sensibilities, his kindness, they were all part of his personality. But it didn't make him popular with the people around him. Remember? He was shunned. And also remember that the people who he bonded with were also social misfits that were on the outskirts of what was socially acceptable by the masses. Yes, he had his heroic qualities, but for most of his peers, those qualities had very little value, except for those with the mental fortitude, an attitude to see his value and call him a friend. Real friends who can see who he was. Even though as viewers we may embrace those qualities that he displayed sacrificially, but to cultivate these qualities is not popular or convenient for most. Remember, it was the patty cake gang that was popular. They were the group that was looked up to as the example for most to follow. The gossipers, the bullies, the slanders, the unempathetic, the callous, the manipulators. They were the ones whose behavior was considered more socially acceptable. I think what made this moment so profoundly emotional for a lot of people was because of the unadulterated innocence of his sacrifice.
Well, we don't just pee in pots. We also protect fair maidens.
It woke up in many a feeling that has been lost, in the battleground of moral false equivalency, that instinctual feeling embedded in all humans. The need to protect, rich sacrifice symbolized something universal that crosses geographical lines and sociological lines. His chivalrous behavior, his sacrifice. It's not clouded by ideology or selective morality, or force by political militarized allegiances, or sociological membership of race or color. Quite simply, it was the purest form of sacrifice. Yes, a lot of people, in fact, countless millions, will have moments where they display heroic aspects to themselves, but most of the times it's conditional. It's like selective outrage. Those heroic sacrificial feelings have been highly processed, commercialized, and captured, then artificially pointed at whoever is deemed worthy of that sacrifice. Segregated and nationalized heroism. A choice to be heroic to those who fit my standards, those who look like me, fit my social standing, my background, philosophy, my looks, or my beliefs. Of course, this is a destined outcome. We see the example of an unbiased sacrifice done by Richie, but in a world that's separated by political, ideological, sociological, and racial deeply entrenched divisions, you can see why the true quality is so rare. Rich's death symbolizes something that should be strived for by most, a quality that transcends the shackles that constantly tugs us into a world of geographical lines, political divisions, and triggered sociological hate. Rich's sacrifice wasn't just done on the sole basis of protecting someone who he loved. This quality was displayed and woven throughout the series while he was in it. He sacrificed himself by putting his standing in danger when he defended the African-American child, Will Hanlon, saying that he saw him by liking his pencil. He talked with him and ate with him. He did all this knowing Will was considered an outcast, again displaying his heroic qualities. Because how many times in real life have we seen one particular racial group that is marginalized, beating down, where another marginalized group wants to escape the pressure of being targeted, bends the knee and capitulates, sympathizing, propagating racial stigmas of the abuser because they are unwilling to sacrifice themselves to stand up for what is right. Again, this is why Rich's behavior is so universally profound. It takes a small child, rightfully so, to expose the uncomfortable truth in a world supposedly filled with intellectual grown-ups, that true sacrifice doesn't come with strings attached. But what makes this such a great episode is that this sacrifice didn't go unnoticed, even though it may not be fully processed or realized. It's still significant enough that it moved people emotionally, and just maybe it will cause people to introspect and realize how important unshackled, unbiased, unfettered sacrifice is. Because if a little child can do it, so can you.
I love you, Rick.
I love you too, Mark.